Hi friends, it's Doug Pratt speaking to you from the sanctuary of First Church in Bonita Springs. And this seems like a good time to have another brief pastor's chat with you. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some perspective on our current situation and then tell you a little bit about the news of our church and our local community. We had hoped that the return of normalcy in America would be a smooth, uphill, unbroken climb. It doesn't seem as if our greatest hopes have been achieved, as we're having some bumps along the way. Things have not happened as we wished. A person's life and legacy is not primarily established by what happens to them, but by how they respond to what happens. We did not choose a lot of what comes to us in life. None of us chose to have the year 2020 so disrupted by a worldwide shutdown, a terrible health disaster, and so many disruptions to our own personal lives and plans. None of us chose a lot of things that have happened to us in life. No one would choose to have a nation already destined to have a very politicized political season ahead be so divided and torn apart. None of us chose what we have before us, but we do get to choose how we respond. And God has given us the ability. We human beings have a will, we have a mind, we are able to make choices. God has given us a lot of guidance and wisdom about how to make the wisest choices. Well, as I've been looking to God's primary source of wisdom lately, this verse is one I want to share with you. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. 1 Corinthians 10:13. No trial comes to you except what is common to mankind. We may think in our naivete that nobody's had to ever deal with what is facing us, individually or corporately, but the problems we experience are normal and natural, even if unexpected. The verse goes on, but God is faithful. He will not let you be tested beyond what you can bear, but when you are tested, and every circumstance in life can bring its tests. When you are tested, not if, He will provide a way out so that you can endure it. As I reflect upon this verse, it gives me the confidence to say again this morning, whatever challenges come to me today, I and God together can deal with them and handle them. Well, I hope this verse and the many others of Scripture that give us encouragement and hope will inspire you to make the best choices, to not be afraid, and to face the tests and trials of life, making the best choices. And now let me talk to you a little bit about church news. We continue every Sunday to offer live services at 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock a.m. We have an attendance combined in those two services of approximately 300 people, so distancing in our 1,300-seat sanctuary is certainly no problem. We are continuing to look at other ways we can be a part of your spiritual life, even if we are separated physically for a while. And thus the pastoral staff is busy developing some new online material that we'll be excited to share with you in a very short time. We also want to remind you of our Summer Read Challenge. Every year we pick a book and encourage people to read it. This year, Dr. Lee Warren's book, I've Seen the End of You, is an amazing book. I think it's the best book I've read in a year. Lee Warren's book will give you a fascinating look through the lens of a practicing neurosurgeon at the most important issues of life and death and faith and eternity, and it is an inspiring, powerful read. I could not put it down when I first looked at it a few months ago, and I would love for you to read it. And as a special bonus, we're very excited that Dr. Warren has agreed to come here next February 2021 and is going to be with us here in our sanctuary. Any of you who have a chance to read the book, I've Seen the End of You, will no doubt want to meet Dr. Warren and hear more about him in person. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's happening in our community. Our best case scenario was that the hot summer months across North America would eliminate the virus, as has often happened with other viruses, but that does not seem to be the case. As spiking of positive test results is occurring, as many of you know, whether you're in Florida or not, it's happened in our state, it's happening in many states across the country. Because of this, we have a renewed concern and a renewed vigilance to be careful and to try to wait this out in hopes that any spike will be short-lived. But it's real. A member of our church began to feel sick on Saturday, went to the doctor on Tuesday, and that evening was admitted to Gulf Coast Hospital. He's getting the best care possible, but it's not an insignificant illness. Fortunately, we've learned so much about it. Doctors are much better at treating, and therefore the death rate is going down pretty dramatically. But nevertheless, it's still in our community. It is especially a significant outbreak in the eastern part of Collier County, east of Bonita Springs, where the community of Immokalee, a farm workers community, has seen a terrific explosion of the cases. And in that area, it's prime, because if you've ever been to Immokalee, you know social distancing and safe practices are impossible in a community where immigrants and farm workers are living with their families, some of them, in such close conditions that it's impossible to really self-quarantine. Now, in terms of our health care, we've got some positive news. Our healthcare system in this area is doing well, though there has been a slight uptick from the last couple weeks in hospital cases. Here is a public letter written a couple days ago by the CEO of Lee Health, which has the hospitals in Lee County. We are seeing an increasing number of COVID-19 cases in Florida and in our community. From our perspective at Lee Health, the most important resources we have to manage this pandemic are our hospital beds, ICU rooms, and ventilators. And at this time, we can safely meet the needs of our community. So that's good news, that we have adequate resources to be able to deal with what might happen in the coming days and weeks. There has been a concerning factor of the increase in the number of positive tests. While for a number of weeks in Florida, tests were running only around 3% positive each day, they have now spiked. Yesterday, the last 24 hours, the test results came in at 8-point-something% increase, but some days the past week, it's been above 10%. So that is a significant concern for us. And one of the great sorrows about this time is how many people have had to suffer alone, isolated, separated from their support system. And this is an ongoing frustration, not only to patients in hospitals and rehab places and residents in care centers, but also to pastors, family members, and friends who aren't able to be with and encourage and pray with those who are struggling physically. So we grieve for that unintended consequence of the necessity to do a lot of dramatic quarantining and shutting down. Here's some positive news. The city of Bonita Springs has decided, unlike some of the other communities in Southwest Florida, to go ahead with 4th of July fireworks on Saturday evening, July 4. They're going to be held and shot off at the Greyhound track at the corner of Old 41 and Bonita Beach Road. And people are invited to come and park in the parking area and in the large lot that is adjacent to the track and just enjoy something from our past that we have loved during the summertime. So any of you who are in Bonita Springs, if you want to stay in the safety of your own vehicle and yet come and watch the fireworks, you're encouraged to do so. Well, I'll be checking back in with you soon, and I hope you are either able to attend worship with us or are watching live stream at 10 o'clock a.m. every Sunday. You can be a part of our church whether you are here or not. In fact, you are a treasured and cherished part of our church. And so until we see each other again, you are in my prayers. Be safe and know that you are loved.